Well, tell us very quickly, we'll come back to those elections that we'll hold in other parts of the country. Specifically, let's talk about Jigawa, because even before Saturday, on the 9th, that is on the eve of the election, that is a Friday night, we had already received reports saying that 4 federal constituencies of Dutse, federal constituency, Ringim, Taura, and Jahun Auyo, we are not in the sense that they don't have their sensitive materials, so elections have been postponed. How come when they were moving these materials, they couldn't, well, get this particular federal constituencies down?
Well, you see, when sensitive materials come into the country, they are deposited in the vaults of the central bank. Ideally, and for that, INEC cannot escape responsibility. Ideally, we received those materials on the understanding that we had assessed, we had audited the number of materials that are there. But you and I know that if ballot papers come into this country and you open those casings in order to check whether all the papers are there and all that, other narratives will generate as to whether things are being done with the ballot papers or with the result sheet. So when the ballot papers come, they are delivered directly into the central bank's vault. And it is when we take them out to distribute that these things are detected. So, like I said, that is not to explain away the fact that, in principle, INEC has the responsibility to say these are adequate and all that. But human circumstances honestly make some of these things inevitable.
But again, you would agree with me, being a journalist, you know, we have, as a gatekeeper, there are so many other things you have to check and double check, knowing full well that this has always been the problem with INEC materials. And I'm sure you have listened to the governor of Rivers State saying that, well, he needs to see results sheets. We also have that complaint in a particular place here in Lagos where people say, well, they didn't get to see the results sheets and they were not going to cast their ballot. How can you reverse this particular trend about some materials arriving, some others not getting there at all?
No, honestly, Sulai, we are mixing things up. We are not talking about materials not getting to the locations.
No, I understand. No, I understand. Sorry, let me cut you there. I quite understand your argument. I understand your argument concerning this particular election that will be taking place today, Sunday. It's not inconclusive. It is holding in places where elections couldn't hold yesterday. But I'm asking you to respond to the question or to the comment by the Rivers State governor, as well as a particular tweet which we received. Some of the voters did say in their polling unit, the result sheets were not seen.
Sulai, ask yourself, when we start polling, how do you show to the voters that, ladies and gentlemen, here are your result sheets? It's not the procedure. When we did have result sheets in 2011, we postponed the election on the day of the elections. When the result sheets were not there, I've had this narrative about people saying they suspected that the result sheets was fake. How do people come to all these conclusions? They were wondering whether the result sheets was not there. If the result sheets was not there, INEC would be the first to tell you that we don't have the materials to conduct the elections. So since when has it become the prerogative of a voter to say, look, you must show me the result sheets before I vote? INEC uses those result sheets to return the results.
Mr. Idowu,
we should get these things clear.
It is said that if information is not given out properly, then you give room for speculations. If INEC is having challenges as regards materials for elections, is it not right that INEC should let the nation know that these are the challenges they are having so that there are no speculations?
Well, that's why we reached out to the stakeholders in Jigawa State. You heard the chairman just said, immediately it was discovered that there were shortages in the sensitive materials in Jigawa State. Stakeholder meetings were called to say, look, there are 10 constituencies, there are 10 federal constituencies. We have sufficient for 3, but we have challenges with 7. We can go ahead with the 3, then come back on April 11 and do the remaining 7. But they decided to say, look, we would rather have the 10 together on the same day. And so that's why all the elections. So there was also another constituency in Delta State where you had that issue. It's in the open, and that's why I said these speculations and allegations of is the material there or is it not there? If the materials are not there, the commission will not be able to go ahead with the procedure. So, what basis then will anybody have to suggest that maybe the materials are not there and yet you are going ahead with the elections?
Well, Mr. Idowu, if you just hold on a moment. Now, Dr. Yusuf, thank you for joining us this morning.
It's my pleasure.
You watched what happened. I'm sure you also observed what happened in your own areas. Yeah. But we just played a report just before you joined us. And one of the things that we noticed was that in some areas, for instance, in River State, the governor said he wasn't going to get accredited because the result sheets weren't there. Do you think that people could be too careful?
Well, naturally, people should be too careful. I mean, no amount of action that will ensure a credible election is too much on the part of the electors, and in fact, indeed, on the part of the umpire. But as it is, I mean, going by what we've been able to gather, I think scoring 80% out of 100 is a good grade. And we must say that, well, this is an innovation.
Who's grading who here?
No, I mean, we.
80% in terms of INEC's performance?
We, the people of Nigeria, the president said that much yesterday, and that we need to be patient with the INEC.
Yeah.
It's something we're trying for the first time. And we don't expect to get to the Eldorado. And in any case, it's an illusion, talking about the Eldorado. So what we do is to expect the best. And I think, I mean, going by what, I mean, the generality of what we have been able to garner, we are making progress.
You think that it's up to 80% out of 100%
well, from the analysis
from INEC's
from the analysis we got, they said they'll be able to achieve at least 80 to 85% efficiency.
Well, Mr. Kayode Idowu, I don't know if yesterday you also monitored what was going on in some areas. They said that much as accreditation was going on, the ballot papers in some areas were supposed to come in after accreditation was confirmed to have been completed in those areas. Was that part of INEC's arrangement? Because there were fears that some people were afraid that they could get accredited and then the ballot papers never come. How would they be able to say they never voted?
Yeah, it looks like
well, anyway, I think we're lost. As soon as we establish a reconnection there, we'll be going back to Kayode Idowu. He joined us via Skype from Abuja. He's the INEC's spokesperson. Talking on this particular election, I want to continue where Marco left off with Dr. Yusuf. The thing is, being a communication expert, let me draw from all of that. Looking at what Mr. Idowu has said, basically, some of these information didn't really quite get to the people in a way that they will definitely understand the information that they have passed out. For people of Jigawa, they held a stakeholder meeting, which was very key and important there, to the extent that people like Captain Umar Aliyu, they wouldn't be coming into the picture talking about security. So no law and order was broken in Jigawa because of communication. Now you see the importance of having to communicate with the people and letting them understand what exactly is happening. But for this particular election that we'll be having in a couple of other places in Nigeria, you said that we should go with what the president has said, patience, which is very key here. But how much of it can we sell to the people in the light of what is happening today, knowing full well that already in some places people have been restricted, and according to Mr. Idowu, that's not from INEC. It's not within the prerogative of INEC to ask anyone not to move, but the security operative. We haven't heard anything in that regard. The soldiers are turning people around, well, especially those who are supposed to go to the places of worship. What can be done now that it's still early in the day to arrest this seeming problem?
Well, I don't know where the directive is coming from, but I think the top hierarchy of the military should come into the matter. They should be able to tell the officers and men out there that, look, ordinarily, you don't force people to vote. Ordinarily, you don't restrict people's movement. But the liberty of the people is key and is paramount. You don't take people's liberty away simply because you want them to vote. How many people And in any case, we've been told now that about 70 million people in Nigeria, 70 million voters have collected their voters card. At the end of the day, what will be the percentage of those people who will be voting or who have voted? Voted. That aside, when we talk about communication, you see, if it's not bottom up, you have some problems. And if it's imposed on the people, you have some problems. Because at the end of the day, as you said, some people might take it against INEC or even the government of the day. Why are you restricting my movement? Why don't you allow me to go to serve my God and my Creator? Which one is more important, to serve man or to serve God?
But what do you think will happen today in terms of voter turnout in those places where elections did not hold at all? Because INEC says
well, it all depends on the sensitization. It all depends on the level of awareness and the level of commitment and the level of patriotism on the part of the people. Well, you have to rank your priority. Oh, this is something I do once in 4 years. Am I going to allow this one to go by because I want to serve my God? Will God understand what I'm going to do? It all depends. You have to rationalize it within your mind. And there is something that you really have to decide. It all depends on how you can weigh. Well, it all depends on the probability or the preponderance of balance on your part. So I really cannot speak for the people. But I can speak for myself. I could do something else with my Sunday. But here I am, contributing to national debate or Nigeria Decide 2015.
Well, we have to thank you for joining us on our program this morning. We understand that Mr. Kayode Idowu is back online with us. He's joining us from Abuja via Skype.